releasing nonviolent criminals from prison to alleviate the growing number of inmates and detainees inside the Department of Corrections prison.
Once you book in confinement, that creates a situation where you've been down to the Ganya detention facility. It's overcrowded. We don't want to put an individual who's just there for a retail theft mixed in with three other individuals who may be there for armed robbery and a more violent offense.
Yeah.
Right? That creates a dangerous situation.
DEPCOR Director Fred Berdalio says his proposed pretrial inmate reduction program could just be the answer to years of overcrowding.
I've met with the Chief Justice and, of course, coordinated with the governor, too, in terms of this proposal, discussing the situation at Department of Corrections with the overcrowding of the largest population here of inmates is the pretrial inmates, the pretrial detainees.
The prison population is slowly inching its way to 1,000 and already hit a record high since Berdalio took on the role as director. He admits the amount of detainees just isn't letting up.
The current research has shown, in comparison to other jurisdictions, Guam has the highest pretrial detention rate in the world. And this was according to the World International Center on Prison Studies, right? And this isn't the first time that Department of Corrections has faced a high number of pretrial detainees incarcerated, more than the ones who have been adjudicated and sentenced and need to go through the rehabilitation programs.
It's why he's resorting to other methods to still keep watch of the detainees, even if they are allowed to be out in the community.
What they would do as part of the strategy, of course, is community supervision and other ways to look at alternative ways to look at an individual who would commit a crime, and it would be negotiated with the public defender's office, the attorney general, of course, at the courts.
Berdalio is inviting Attorney General Doug Moylan to tour the facilities as the AG's office is reviewing his proposal. But AG Moylan also tells KUAM Berdalio is, quote, opening a Pandora's box, stating our client, who is the people of Guam and our crime victims, will strongly object if any attempt is made in our cases. Berdalio contends the problem at the prison is only getting worse.
It is really an urgent situation. I mean, with the overcrowding situation, tensions can get high, and part of the side effect of that is when we're having a recent, string of violent incidents taking place. And some of that happened over recently within the last 4 days, the holiday, for Thanksgiving, and happened over at Post 8, where the women's area is at, which is overcrowded with pretrial female detainees. Also, an incident that happened at the Domes too. And then also over at Hagania detention. It's mainly strictly taking place among our pretrial inmates. There have been individuals, recently even one of my officers was injured, over these 4 days as a result of the violence that is taking place among the Post 8, the pretrial detention, right? And tensions can get high. So I want to reemphasize that this is a dangerous place. Our personnel, it's looking at least good and bright that we may have about 11 recruits graduating in the latter part of January that are undergoing training. And we have some individuals also that I just swore in, an individual for Corrections Reserve going through training, and a couple of our current corrections officers getting back into catching up with their post-related training. So that's helpful. But we also have a continuing recruitment effort for both full-time that's announced. And I'd like to thank the Department of Administration. They have it out. I've been putting that even on my social media to get individuals to come to work over at Department of Corrections as a corrections officer. We're going to also, that's not only going to be another thing, we're also going to be working with parole division 2, because that's another area where, as I said from the beginning when I took over, when we go into the strategy of aggressive community supervision, the parole services division is a very important area. The parole officers constantly going out there checking the parolees, but they're also another asset that can work with the courts and these individuals who are on probation too.
He hopes senators in their final session approve funding that will help them to improve security at the facility. The prison director plans to meet with the chief of Guam Police as well about his proposal.